Hey, everybody. Happy Friday. Once again, welcome back to Behind the Numbers, America's only father and son polling show. Me like it that way. Andrew Wilson joins me as always. We're going to go through some numbers for you guys this week that I know it's a cliche now. It's getting worse and worse and worse. We think the approval number is, as low as it's going to get, almost, maybe a touch lower. But the other stuff that's underpinning this is so disastrous.
Yeah.
We're negative 25.
Negative 25 net approval, 505 days into his term. This is the kind of thing a two-term president might see this kind of drop in 1,000 days.
Sure.
That's realistic. This is precipitous in that it is in such a short period. Less than 2 years. He's dropped 25, a quarter. It's sort of hard to put it into words, but like 35% approval is probably where I expect it to sort of even out. I don't necessarily know if it's going to get much worse, although you never know. He could do something that doubles down on all this bad shit.
I have to tell you, I think the thing that's going to make it much worse is when we hit the 27th or so of this month, and the strategic oil reserve is empty.
Yeah,
and they can't keep pumping the supply into the American market. I think at that moment you're going to see people say, "I'm paying $8 for gas."
Yeah. So what gas is at? We have a figure.
Yeah. Let's go to. Let's do that. We got some issue stuff first. Let's do that. We'll get to the gas thing. Sorry, I'm obsessed.
So
doing great, Donald. You're doing great.
Bleeding on inflation. This is a serious problem for him, especially since it was one of those verbatim campaign promises that he was going to bring inflation down. The headline today, it ticked up 4.2%.
Worse than it was. When Biden left office, folks, it was 2.9.
Yeah. And so, we had cooling inflation for a long time. And the war just shot it right back up to COVID levels. Basically, we're approaching that really, and this is going to be sustained long-term inflation as the war continues and even after it ends. Right. Whether the war goes a month or another year or 2 years or whatever.
And we're going to get to that question in a few minutes.
We will.
But, Andrew, look, if you look at all this stuff, even his strongest issues, he's underwater.
Yeah. Crime and immigration. Crime is one of those things that Republicans have leaned on as a crutch for years and years. And it's been really effective in elections across the country where they say Democrats are soft on crime. And voters believe that. Voters, tend to swing towards Republicans if crime is the major issue in their district. But look, Trump is down 5 points on crime. That crutch that Republicans were relying on, it's broken. Immigration is another. It's the exact same situation except worse. And they're talking about making it worse. They're talking about they've given them $70 billion through the House. Who knows whether or not it's going to go through the Senate. But they're talking about a surge in New York, and that is going to be another ugly, hideous, terribly blunderous move by Trump.
Mark Wayne Mullen makes Kristi Noem look like Machiavelli. He is a dumb person.
He's not a smart guy.
He will do this even more in an even more clumsy and heavy-handed way than Noem and Lewandowski did.
Well,
and Bovino.
It's impossible.
President Bovino.
Oh God. Lord save us. Now, he couldn't win an election for shit. He's too short. Yeah. The thing is, like, the problem with Mark Wayne Mullen is they haven't cleaned house. They haven't cleared out all these bad actors that they brought in. The scrapings of the nation that they brought in is awful people. Yeah,
the whole brute squad thing is not going to work out in the end like they think it's going to work out.
No, it's the same. It's the same cast of characters. Bovino might be gone, Noem might be gone, but it's the same. It's the same makeup, it's the same character.
Right. Stephen Miller is still at the top of the food chain.
Exactly.
There. So it's always going to look like Lincoln said that an institution is the lengthened shadow of a man.
Exactly.
And that is, Thoreau said it about Lincoln. And so it's always going to reflect Stephen Miller.
Right.
The violence, the contempt, the lawlessness, all that stuff. Yeah, do this in New York City. See how it works out for you. Go ahead.
It's not.
Give it a run,
it's
guys.
going to be Minneapolis, except worse.
Yeah, except worse.
And these neighborhoods of immigrants they've been established in New York for many,
300 years.
many years.
300 years.
Yes.
300 years.
Before the United States,
before America was
a
America.
Nation, these immigrant communities were established in New York. And trying to pry them out is going to be violent and ugly and cruel. And I think that's, of course, what Stephen Miller wants. But the reaction from Americans has consistently been, we hate this. This is awful.
Don't you think it's sort of like pumping a dry well at this point? Their base is already, their base isn't going to get more excited about being mean to immigrants.
No, I mean, with the base, they're squeezing blood from a stone. The base is where it is. It's not going to react strongly because it's shrinking, number one. And of course, it will react strongly. It loves the base loves the cruelty. That they eat that up. That's their bread and butter. But with it shrinking, that reaction is less and less impactful on elections.
I think that's right.
The reaction from regular people who see this as what it is, which is just wanton cruelty, the reaction is going to be just as negative as it was in Minneapolis, or worse.
Or worse.
And again, it's one of those things. You're not going to take the phones out of people's hands. You'll see all the videos. You'll see everything that happens on the streets. And it's a shame. It's terrible. But it's going to blow them up. I mean, it's going to destroy their polling even more than it's already done. And down 11 points on immigration is not the floor for his number on immigration.
No, it's not the floor. But I do think we've got to look at that. I mean, I've been thinking about, like, what's the summer play? What's the late summer, early fall play for the MAGA side of this equation? They're going to try to get the culture wars revved up.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to try to get the immigration revved up. They're going to try to get the election denial stuff revved up.
Yep.
None of it works.
None of it works.
I was looking at this candidate's website today, who's running for Congress in North Florida, and Republican MAGA guy. It's like, my values are to salute the police and bow to the cross and pray to the flag, whatever, pray to the cross, whatever. And I'm like, that is definitely going to help reduce the price of gas.
Yeah.
I mean, they are so tone deaf right now about all of this stuff. And look, suburban women held their nose for Trump in 2016. They came back in 2024 because they thought the economy needed a Trumpian juicing. We pulled them off in 2020, but they came back for Trump in 24. The immigration stuff repels them at a level that is almost underscored even in the public polling.
Yeah.
I think
you think about the force that's acting on these voters, and it's almost all coming from economic issues. Like, you can shout immigration, you can shout open borders all year long, but that's not what people are listening to. They're looking at the price of gas. And the price of gas has jumped and jumped and jumped, and it's going to keep going up and up and up. And as we get closer to the election, it gets worse and worse. It's a time bomb.
Yeah, and that economic stuff, as James Carville has said for a generation now, it is the economy. Let's flip to the next slide and see what we've got here on the economic stuff.
Oh yeah, this is we talked about this economy getting worse.
This is the one I was trying to get to.
So just starting with getting better. Only 14% of people say it's getting better.
So Trump, by the way, folks, every time he goes out and says, I mean, Andrew, don't you think every time he goes out and says the economy's booming, golden age, everything's great, now it's become like an insult to people.
Yeah.
Now it's become, even for his own supporters, because if you think about his own supporters, if you think that they fall in that category of about the same and getting better, and you've got 35%, which is the Trump back in the envelope base number, guys, even those people are like, no, man, we're not buying it.
No,
14% getting better.
I would say most of these people in the about the same or getting better category are homeowners. They are comfortable. They have safe jobs. And these people in the getting worse category are paying increasing rents. The job market is scary. We have this hiring firing freeze right now where there are not good jobs for people to go out there and get. There are not high paying jobs.
The job market, especially for white collar jobs right now, is frozen right now because of AI.
Right.
They're like, wait, we're not going to hire these people and accrue all these potential, liabilities from hiring all these people if AI is going to replace them in a year or two.
Right. And it's another one of those things where this is a force pushing on Trump now. He is becoming more and more reliant on the tech money. Less and less so on the institutional money that powered the Republican Party for years and years. And that part of that is losing these incumbents like John Cornyn. Yep. They become more dependent on this industry, and this industry grows more and more powerful, and it squeezes the rest of the economy. It's a really hard story to tell, regular people in America who don't work in tech, who don't work in AI, right, that things are getting better. They don't believe it because it's not the case. All the evidence
has the disadvantage of being untrue.
Yeah, for real. And I think we have some more on gas here, or the economy. I think we have some more numbers. Negative 34% on his handling the economy. Now remember back to pre-2024 election, Trump was hailed as, the economic genius from the last 5 years. And, he managed to place it all on Biden. All the inflation, all the COVID spending didn't land on Trump's lap. That landed with Biden. And, it is remarkable, truly remarkable that he has slid 34 points. Now that's more than his approval rating overall has slid. So that tells you that this issue is highly salient. And
to go back to it again, folks, I mean, Andrew, you and I talked about this 100 times. The imaginary Donald Trump in the heads of many Americans who watch The Apprentice was, he's a great deal maker. He's a great negotiator. He understands business. He understands the economy. He'll make us rich.
Yeah.
And I don't think, unless your name is Mark Zuckerberg or Peter Thiel or Elon Musk, you're not feeling that out in the country right now.
You're not. This is Jesus. So, this is approval of Trump's job on the economy. Who says it's getting worse? Now, really, the remarkable thing here is strongly approved. That is hollowed out so much. And the strongly disapprove has ballooned to this massive 88% number. It's insane to see that, the people who were really strong Trump supporters, they're virtually gone on this issue. They're completely they're just
you're right. They have essentially disappeared into the reality, they can't spin it to themselves when they're paying $6 for gas.
No,
they can't sit at the pump and go, I'm really paying $2. It's okay. This is just not real.
No.
They can't sit there in Walmart and go, yeah, this is a really inexpensive grocery bill. This doesn't work that way.
And it's also like, we haven't seen the worst of it yet. We haven't gone through.
This is the madness. It's like the market is starting to wobble.
Mm-hmm. In a serious way. It's getting bad.
The VIX is your grandfather taught me this rule. Watch the VIX, the instability index in the markets, and it is spiking.
Yeah.
Because they don't think that Trump is going to settle with Iran. They don't think that Trump can get the oil industry restarted coming out of the Gulf, and the fertilizer industry restarted within a year or two. Right. That economic pessimism is sinking into people on how long they anticipate the shittiness will last, because now they think it's bad. Let's jump into the Iran slides for a second, we'll have some of that. Doing great, Donald. You're doing great.
62% disapproval on Iran. It's really no surprise the war is still smoldering. Smoldering. I'd say it's blazing.
The rubble there. I mean, guys, Iran is this week hitting American forces. This week hitting Israel.
I thought it was interesting. It's sort of a role reversal. They shoot down one of our helicopters and we're vowing retaliation. This is what Iran has been doing for years and years.
For years.
They vow retaliation. So who's the paper tiger here? We can keep going.
Yeah, Abu Fred over here in the White House is now, what's next? A fatwa from Donald Trump?
So I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if you saw it on his Truth Social. So this is a percentage of Americans who say that Trump is ineffective in negotiating with Iran.
2/3 of all Americans.
Even a third of Republicans say that he is. And independents, 75%, 3/4 of independents say he's ineffective at negotiating with Iran. And I think that's pretty evident. I mean, we're still fighting.
QED everything.
Yeah. Obviously, Democrats are against him. But how much longer will the war last? This is what people expect.
This is dark right here, guys.
This is very dark.
Dark.
Now, 42% say a year or more. Imagine a year or more of this war with Iran. Gas prices are going to be $10 a gallon.
Yeah. Oh, easy.
Or worse. The states that have weathered the storm so far, like Texas, are not, the gas prices in Texas might be mitigated somewhat by the shale fields, but everywhere else in the country is getting screwed.
Yeah. The problem is that the fertilizer product coming out of the Gulf is done. It's over. That's not working. We do not have a sufficient domestic resupply ability. A lot of the specialty petrochemicals that are coming out of the Gulf, those are done. A lot of the stuff that is, again, oil economy is a global economy, as folks keep forgetting. And when Europe and South America and Asia are deciding they're going to try to get first dibs on these things, and frankly, the Chinese have built a dark transit system out of the Gulf, that we're not stopping, and everybody else is going to try to grab their slice of the pie, and we've lost our standing in the region. It just blows my mind every day.
Yeah, I mean, I think I might be one of those people in the 42% that say that it's going to last a year or more. I expect that the next president is going to have to wrap this up. Even if they get a ceasefire, even if they get, if they have ongoing negotiation, I anticipate that the next president will have to wrap this up and manage the end of the war.
And if you're Iran, you have no motivation to move fast.
No, none at all.
Every motivation to slow step this thing. You have every motivation to drag down Trump, to drag down the Republicans. You have every motivation to wait and wait and wait. And they do not respect Witkoff and Kushner. No. They're not negotiating with Witkoff and Kushner. They don't really respect Marco. They do respect strength, and we're not showing it at a consistent level. They don't have any motivation at all to, when they wake up in the morning, the Iranians aren't like, wow, this is terrible. They are fine with the situation right now. They're okay with, because I tell people this, as long as they've got a bunch of Toyota Hilux trucks and a bunch of AK-47s and a bunch of bullhorns, they can govern.
Right. Yeah.
That is, they do not need what we think we need in this country to govern, or at least rule. Let me say rule rather than govern.
Yeah. Govern implies consent.
I was talking about this with somebody yesterday. The sweeping economic and foreign policy collapse for Trump on every front. Everything that he was strong on, he is now weak on. The Democratic Party realizing that they have to have candidates who are strong, like we saw this week with Plattner. They'll take. They really thought that Plattner, this little oppo dump they did on Plattner, was going to take him out, and that the Democrats would be like, "Oh, me too. But they've discovered that the best is the enemy of the good, and so let's have people who can go out there and fight. And we're seeing it with Tallarico, and we're seeing it with Jolly, and we're seeing it with Plattner, and we're seeing it with Sand.
Yeah,
I interviewed Josh Turek earlier in the week, and man, impressive guy, like doing the work, right? Even in hard seats, this guy we're supporting in North Florida, Nick Zatello, even in hard seats, he's going out and talking about data centers in these red rural communities. And as a Democrat, he's suddenly getting people like, I didn't want to support you, but I don't want that damn data center in my neighborhood. Right. All these people that are getting it and getting in on this economic angle of campaigning, it is powerful. And we got another poll this week, Paxton back 3 on Tallarico, which is why Paxton's all in on the culture war. Completely all in on the culture war.
But I see the culture war issues as less of a mortal blow and more of a glancing blow.
Yeah.
You know, it was something that was really salient with voters when Democrats weren't talking about the economy. You know, when you're not going for the throat, you are vulnerable. And Democrats were vulnerable on what, transgender, whatever,
Right.
all this stuff. You know, but when they're talking about the economy and only the economy and people's quality of life when it comes to data centers and things like that, people listen, and people forget about all the BS that they were fed about, you know, transgender bathrooms and you know, their whatever.
Anybody that's affected by that at this point was already a Trump voter or a Republican vote.
Right. And it's less and less salient as the economy becomes more and more, you know, as it screeches to a halt. And especially with independent voters, that is not an issue that it will win independent voters over. It turned them off from Democrats, but it didn't necessarily, you know, make them strong Republicans. It might have leaned them towards Republicans.
That's right.
But you know, it's not an issue that can capture voters.
And the idea of being able to not fall victim to the Republican sort of Saul Alinsky bullshit tactic of, oh, well, your Democratic candidate is not perfect. You must all stay home now and not vote for him. That doesn't work for people anymore. That's not working like it worked.
No, and I think we'll sort of have an equal and opposite effect with Republicans this year staying home. I strongly expect that these places that they especially need, like the suburbs of medium and small metros, are going to be bloodbaths for Republicans, because that's where these independent voters are.
And they're going to lose races they don't see coming.
Yes, 100%.
You know, Joe Trippi and I were talking about this last night. In 1980, Carter's numbers were in the ditch. We were stuck in a conflict with Iran. Inflation was raging. People were uncertain about the future economically. And on election night, the Democratic Senatorial Committee, they had 2 races on their radar they thought they would lose. Well, they lost 12 seats.
Yeah. I really expect that there's going to be surprises on election night in November. And you know, who knows where they'll be? They might be in Texas, they might be in Maine, they might be in Florida. You know,
might be in Kansas.
Might be in Kansas. Who knows?
You know, guys, the fact that we're even mentioning the word Kansas, saying the K word, is like to say, one of the reddest states in the country is now not one of the reddest states in the country. Something's going on in the Midwest.
No, and there was
here's a Texas number for you.
Yeah, Trump's down 25 in Texas. That's going to be a drag on Ken Paxton. And that's going to be a boon for Tallarico, because, you know, when you have a MAGA candidate, it is a Trump show. Like, Ken Paxton is all about Trump. It's all about loyalty to Trump.
He's a Trump monkey. He's a Trump monkey.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Sits in his cage, throws feces, and yells, Trump.
And so another thing, I don't think we have any numbers here on this, but it looks like Trump, and we talked about this a few months ago, it looks like Trump is suffering pretty severely in rural areas. And that has a lot to do with these farm bankruptcies, which are connected, of course, to the war in Iran. And we've seen a huge spike in those bankruptcies. And these rural areas that rely on agriculture as their economy are places where, for Georgia, for instance, these are places where Trump padded his win. You know, it's not a lot of votes in these counties in Georgia.
Yeah, but when you're rolling up 80% of the vote,
right? You know, it's 2,000 votes here, 1,400 here, whatever. But he's getting 80% of that, and that pads his win hugely in states like Georgia, Alabama, Texas, Louisiana, anywhere there's Florida, and of course across the Midwest in places like Wisconsin, you know, where there's huge ag industry. He's going to suffer. Republicans will suffer because they can't pad their wins in these states. So there's going to be surprises where Democrats win by a hair. There's going to be elections that we're looking at where Democrats are probably going to win by 3, 4, 5 points.
I was told by somebody the other day that the Republican model that they're assuming with Byron Donalds is that he will win 67 to 69% of the vote in the Panhandle, and that's not happening.
I don't see it.
That is an illusion.
I think it is. And then, you know, Gwen Graham, great pick for David Jolly. I think
great pick for David Jolly. We're friends of Gwen Graham. We've known Gwen forever.
I wish Gwen Graham was our candidate in 2018.
I know. Well, here you go. But I wish she'd been the candidate in 2018. We would have a whole different timeline in this country right now if Gwen had been the candidate against DeSantis instead of the Andrew Gillum flash in the pan.
Oh God, I was talking about this with Becky last night. How sad it was. I mean, I should have seen it coming because he was missing during one of those storms, and you just knew he was off doing something hinky.
I mean, we had, and ironically, they both lived within a half a mile of us here. Scott Maddox and Andrew Gillum at that time were like the greatest new, fresh, hot young Democrats, and we were always like, guys, do you know these people? Have you met these people? No, and that ain't it, Chief.
But talking about candidate quality, Democrats have an edge here this year on candidate quality in a lot of places. You look at the candidates that Republicans are picking in these primaries, and they are Trump monkeys. They are the most loyal Trumpers. They're saying what they have to say to keep Trump on sides, get that endorsement, get that money from MAGA,
get that primary,
right, and get that primary over with. And those candidates, of course, are still winning, with some exceptions like Randy Feenstra. But they are the ones, again, like 2018, who have this serious candidate quality problem. And that really hurt them in 18 and 22. Yeah. And candidate quality is a real thing. It's a really important thing.
It is the Mitch McConnell doctrine. Candidate quality will cover a variety of other sins.
Right.
If you've got a great candidate in a hard race, then you have a competitive race. If you have a shit candidate in an easy race, then you don't have a competitive race.
Right. And talking about these surprises, there will be races where Democrats don't quite win. They come up closer than expected. But those 100%. Internal polls for Republicans will look scary right at the end, and they'll have to triage some of these races. The money is going to run out at a certain point. When you're defending so many seats, and so many seats look like they're at risk, especially Senate seats, you need to be really careful where you spend your money.
I talked to a Republican donor in Texas the other day. I hadn't talked to this guy for 10 years. Well, 6 years, let's call it. I pitched him at the beginning of Lincoln, and he's like, no, come on, man. But I was texting with him yesterday, or Wednesday. I was texting with him actually, and he said the Cornyn and Paxton thing, they just bled us dry on it. No matter which side of the Republican fence you were on, you were getting bled dry. And he's like, and now Paxton wants to raise $200 million in Texas, and he says it's a hard lift for him.
I mean, I don't see it happening really.
No, it's tough to get. It's tough to get. And look, the economy being what it is, even Texas oil and gas people are like watching their disposable income.
Right. Yeah.
So, yeah, I think you're right though, and I think one of the things Democrats need to think about is the 2026 races are incredibly important to take back the House and to try to either level the playing field in the Senate or take the Senate. It's still a hard hill, guys. It's still, I'm not blowing smoke up this. It's still a hard hill to take the Senate.
Yeah.
We're going to get the House. I feel very good about it.
Yeah.
I feel like all the numbers are rolling our way. The Senate is in play because the economy is in play in our direction. But I think Democrats also need to have a perspective here. Don't screw it up this year. And you will set yourself up for 2028 in a way where this economic peril that we are in is still going to be the main narrative storyline going into 28.
Yeah.
And if the Republicans are having to play defense on the economy in 2028, both in the presidential primary and in the legislative side of the races, you will have built up some skills and some muscle memory and some political capital.
Oh, we lost him.
Uh-oh.
Oh, sorry.
I think
there you are.
I think Peter Thiel tried to stop our broadcast there for a second.
Anyway, don't bring his
wrath. Yeah. Anyway, so folks, it's been a big week as always. Nothing's improving on the bad guy side of the equation, and look, I also want to just give a shout out, pour out a 40 for Nancy Mace, who came in 5th in the South Carolina.
Oh, that's tough. We hate to see it.
Came in 5th.
Last thing I want to talk about, and I know we didn't talk about this much, but down ballot races. So there's some really important ones coming up this year. Secretary of State races.
Talk about this, Andrew, because
so
people don't pay attention to this.
These races are really important, and there's quite a few in swing states like Michigan that we really need to secure these Secretary of State seats, because Republicans are going to try to play fuck around this year and in 2028. And if they have those Secretary of State seats, it makes it much easier for them to play fuck around. So really make sure that you're going out and you know who you're voting for on these Secretary of State races.
I did hear yesterday that Tina Peters is going to run for Secretary of State again.
It's exactly what I'm talking about. A dangerous person in a position of power could really swing these elections and steal them.
In fact, we've got Jenna Griswold, who is the Democratic Secretary of State of Colorado, coming on the show, I think in the next week or so. But shortly, let me not commit to time.
And these are critical races. can't be overstated.
And ironically, not only is she actually a terrific Secretary of State, just in terms of running a great state election system.
Yeah,
she's also one of these people that just she calls balls and strikes on the election denial bullshit. Like, no, it's a lie.
It's a lie. Yeah, those are critical, and Democrats need to be really focused on those. And I'm hopeful.
That, Andrew, thank you for reminding people of that, because in 2022, we did a big push on Secretaries of State for Lincoln.
Yeah.
And we have not had them on our list this year as much, but we probably should take another gander at that and see where some of the places we can make a difference at Lincoln is for those people.
Yeah.
So, well, folks, it has been another great Friday. I hope all of you have a wonderful day and a splendid weekend. Let's hope that Donald Trump doesn't wake up and decide to nuke the world. Also, everything Trump touches dies, vis-a-vis the Knicks game earlier in the week. Just the rule never fails. And we appreciate y'all. Catch me on later today on the Elephant in the Room podcast. You can also catch me on the Lincoln Project podcast, the strategy session, the breakdown, and somewhere over the weekends, I'm always with Molly Jong Fast on Fast Politics. You can also check me out on my Substack at Against All Enemies. Talk